In the summer of 1999, a peculiar little volume quietly made its way onto the shelves of a small Tokyo bookstore, a self-published manga titled The Future I Saw. Its creator, an elusive figure known only by the pen name Tatsuki, was neither a celebrated artist nor a media darling. In fact, her work received virtually no promotion and bore none of the visual polish associated with mainstream graphic novels. Inside, however, lay something altogether different from the colorful narratives and action-packed panels typical of the era. 15 fragmentary pencil-sketched dreams, each annotated with terse, almost cryptic notes in the margins. Page after page, readers encountered shadowy landscapes, water lapping at flooded streets, figures collapsing beneath. Stage lights, corridors illuminated by towering windows, rendered in rough, unrefined strokes that lent the images an eerie immediacy. There were no speech bubbles, no coherent storyline, only the unsettling sensation that these were not fanciful inventions, but fleeting glimpses of some other realm. At first, the manga attracted hardly a second glance. Industry insiders and casual fans alike passed over it, dismissing the unadorned sketches as the work of an amateur scribbler with an overactive imagination. There was no flashy cover art to grab attention, no celebrity endorsement to spark curiosity, and no critical reviews to guide potential readers. It seemed destined to disappear into obscurity, just another obscure self-published zine consigned to blank market stalls. Yet hidden within its modest pages was a subtle promise, a suggestion hinted at in the title and implied by the unassuming annotations that these were more than the random images of a restless mind. They were purportedly prophetic visions, snapshots of events yet to unfold. Though most readers in 1999 were unaware of the gravity behind Tatsuki's hand-drawn diary, the seeds of astonishment had already been sown. In that moment, a quiet literary oddity had been released into the world. A cryptic dream journal brought to life on paper, awaiting the day when its uncanny accuracy would be discovered and its mysterious creator thrust unwillingly into the glare of public fascination. In the aftermath of the devastating March 11th, 2011, Tohoku earthquake and tsunami, what had once been an obscure self-published manga suddenly found itself at the center of a burgeoning cultural phenomenon. As horrifying footage of seawater relentlessly surging through streets and tidal waves, smashing into coastal towns, circulated around the globe, a handful of eagle-eyed readers recalled a dream sequence hidden in the pages of Tatsuki's 1999 volume, The Future I Saw. There, amidst crude pencil sketches and terse margin notes, lay an eerily prescient tableau. Rooftops awash in seawater, tsunami-like swells hurtling inland, and, most chilling of all, the cryptic appearance of the number 311 scrawled upon the cover page, a silent nod to the date of the impending catastrophe. What had previously been dismissed as an eccentric artist's fanciful imaginings now assumed the weight of prophecy, and almost overnight the manga transformed from a dusty curiosity into a frantic research project for amateur sleuths and conspiracy theorists alike. Online forums and social media feeds filled with screenshots and heated debates as thousands of people tracked down used copies, unraveling every line and notation in search of hidden codes or additional clues. As the community meticulously cross-referenced the illustrated dreams against real-world events, they uncovered a startling pattern. Of the 15 visions Tatsuki recorded, 12.5 by their reckoning, had manifested in the decades since her initial publication. From the catastrophic Kobe earthquake of 1995 to the untimely passing of international icons, each fulfilled prophecy lent the work an air of uncanny credibility, while the remaining predictions loomed like dark omens over the collective imagination. The very idea that an unknown illustrator, working in isolation and without any institutional backing, could have foreseen such momentous occurrences ignited both awe and apprehension, blurring the boundaries between coincidence, fate, and the inexplicable forces that govern time itself. What began as a grassroots effort to make sense of an unspeakable natural disaster ultimately became a broader meditation on the nature of belief, the power of dreams, and humanity's relentless desire to find meaning, and perhaps a measure of control amid the chaos of an unpredictable world. Tatsuki, the mysterious pen name behind The Future I Saw, remained shrouded in complete anonymity, with no verifiable identity, biography, or means of contact to her name. From the moment her self-published manga surfaced in 1999, readers and researchers alike found themselves confounded by the total absence of any traceable background. No real name, no public appearances, not even a publisher's records or archived correspondence to follow. This void of personal information only deepened the intrigue, prompting wild conjectures about the true origin of the work. Some argued that the manga could only have been the product of a sophisticated hoax, perhaps orchestrated by a publicity-savvy individual seeking to capitalize on sensationalism. Others speculated that Tatsuki might not be a single person at all, but a clandestine collective or an experimental artistic collective intent on social commentary. A more conspiratorial camp went so far as to suggest that the prophetic visions were the work of a covert organization, governmental or otherwise, interested in shaping public belief or testing the limits of psychological influence. As word of her predictions spread, the void around her identity became a breeding ground for imposters, with countless fake social media accounts and websites springing up to claim the mantle of the real author and even releasing fabricated, new prophecies. These pretenders further muddied the waters, sowing confusion and distrust among those desperate for answers. Despite intense scrutiny by journalists, fan forums, and amateur sleuths, no definitive clue to Tatsuki's whereabouts or personal history ever emerged. In a digital age when nearly every creator leaves a trail of metadata and online breadcrumbs, her ability to vanish without a trace only magnified the aura of the unknown, transforming the woman or entity behind the pen into perhaps the greatest mystery of all. In October 2023, after more than 2 decades of silence, the mysterious author known only as Tatsuki quietly reissued her self-published manga, The Future I Saw, this time transformed from a terse collection of pencil-sketched dreams into a richly annotated chronicle, complete with full biographical detail and in-depth commentary. She disclosed that she was born on December 2nd, 1954, in Kanagawa Prefecture, and now resides in Yokohama, where she has spent a lifetime honing her artistic gifts and documenting the uncanny visions that began at the age of 9. According to Tatsuki, it was during childhood dreams that she first encountered a silver-haired old man whose calm voice and gentle presence would guide her through glimpses of events still to unfold. Over the years, she learned to record every nuance, settings, sounds, colors, even the emotional sensations that accompanied each vision, in a series of leather-bound journals. What emerged from those pages was not random fantasy, but a pattern of prophecy. Certain dreams would manifest exactly 5 years after their conception, others 10, and some precisely 15 years later, each with an almost terrifying precision. In her new edition, Tatsuki explained how she came to recognize this temporal rhythm and why she chose to compile the 15 most significant dreams into a single volume. She described the painstaking care with which she dated each entry, sketched its key images, and annotated the margin with notes on location, time of day, and atmosphere, details that would later prove critical when readers began matching her drawings to real-world events. The reissue also includes reflective essays in which Tatsuki wrestles with the ethical burden of foresight. Her belief that, by revealing these dreams now, especially the final, still unfulfilled vision set for 5 a.m. on July 5, 2025, she might offer a sliver of hope for preparation, even as she acknowledges the skepticism and anxiety such revelations inevitably provoke. By laying bare both her life story and the method behind her prophetic drawings, Tatsuki has invited the world not only to marvel at the uncanny accuracy of her earlier predictions, but also to confront a profound question. If the future can indeed be seen, what responsibility do we bear in heeding its warnings? In the decades before her enigmatic 1999 manga captured global attention, Tatsuki experienced 3 early dreams so startlingly vivid and precise that they would come to define her identity as a so-called seer, binding her fate inexorably to the real-world events they foretold. The first of these visions came on a crisp November night in 1976, when, as a solitary teenager wandering the borderlands between adolescence and adulthood, she dreamed she stood at the edge of a vast concert hall illuminated by an array of blinding stage lights that cast long, trembling shadows across an expectant crowd. There, center stage, was Freddie Mercury, resplendent in glittering attire, his trademark mustache catching the light as he raised the microphone in a triumphant gesture and then impossibly collapsed mid-verse, folding beneath the glare, as the audience's euphoric roar gave way to stunned silence. Tatsuki awoke in a cold sweat, her heart pounding, and instinctively captured every detail: the flamboyant costume, the precise angle of the spotlights, the frozen expressions of the fans in a hastily sketched journal entry. 15 years later, on November 24, 1991, when the world reeled at the news of Mercury's death from AIDS-related complications, Tatsuki's crude pencil drawing lay open on her desk like a grim relic, its uncanny alignment with reality marking. The first time, she could no longer dismiss her dreams as random figments of imagination. Barely 4 years after Mercury's passing, on the last afternoon of August 1992, she recorded her second portent, a dream of walking down an interminable corridor flanked by towering windows that refracted the light into geometric patterns, on the floorboards at the far end of which hung a solitary painting of a blonde woman cradling a child, beneath which the word Dana was scrawled in delicate script. In that instant, a blinding flash and the cacophony of metal twisting and bodies crying out consumed her senses. Though it seemed a surreal tableau born of subconscious whim, exactly 5 years later, on August 31st, 1997, the world was shaken by the tragic car crash in Paris that claimed the life of Diana, Princess of Wales. Dana, as her birth name might echo in Tatsuki's private lexicon, an event so resonant with the corridor's oppressive light and sudden violence that countless readers would later marvel at the dream's prescience. Yet perhaps the most chilling confirmation arrived on a wintry night in early 1995, when Tatsuki dreamed of standing atop a barren landscape gouged by jagged fissures, the sky an ashen expanse lit only by the sickly shimmer of distant street lamps, the air heavy with the stench of crushed concrete and ozone. In the margin of her journal, she inscribed 4 simple words, "Something will rupture in 15 days," and sketched a scene of fractured highways, toppled buildings, and silent streets. 15 days later, on January 17th, 1995, the deadly Great Anjin Kobe earthquake struck the heart of Japan's industrial port region, collapsing entire neighborhoods, killing nearly 6,500 people and leaving tens of thousands homeless. Each of these 3 dreams unfolded at intervals of exactly 15 or 5 years, Mercury 15, Diana 5, Kobe 15, revealing a temporal pattern that would come to characterize Tatsuki's entire body of work, an unerring sequence of prophecies marked by precise dates, vivid environmental details, and the unmistakable emotional resonance of their real-world counterparts. Together, they formed a triumvirate of uncanny foresight, music, royalty, and geological catastrophe, cementing Tatsuki's belief that her nocturnal encounters with a silver-haired guide were not idle fantasies, but genuine glimpses into the unfolding tapestry of history, and instilling within her a profound urgency to document every dream, no matter how surreal, lest another warning go unheeded. In the summer of 2021, Tatsuki awoke from what would become her most urgent and as yet unfulfilled vision. 1. She would later date with chilling precision, 5 a.m. on July 5, 2025. In her dream, she stood at an immense height, gazing down upon the sea south of Japan, its surface unnervingly calm as dawn light filtered through ashen clouds. Suddenly, massive pockets of air began to rise from the ocean floor in bubbling cauldrons, heralding the awakening of an underwater volcano. From the depths emerged 2 enormous, sinuous dragons, their twisting forms echoing the contours of the Philippine Sea and Pacific tectonic plates as they writhed beneath the water's surface. The ocean around them churned like a living creature, and in a single, heart-stopping instant, a colossal column of water erupted skyward, unleashing a tsunami of unimaginable scale. Its towering waves dwarfed even those of the 2011 disaster, 3 times their height, roaring toward the shore with apocalyptic force. In stunned silence, Tatsuki watched as the surge swept away cities, vehicles, and millions of people, leaving only dust and wreckage in its wake. Then, as if in a single grand gesture of renewal amid devastation, a new landmass began to heave. Slowly upward from the sea, soil and stone contorting into jagged peaks that forged a narrow isthmus binding Japan, Taiwan, Hong Kong, and the Philippines into one continuous continent. In her journal, she captured every detail: the rhythm of the bubbling vents, the dragon's curving movements, the precise angle of the sun at the moment of eruption, and appended a note underscoring her fear that this was far more than symbolic myth. It was her most direct warning that at 5 a.m. on July 5, 2025, the ancient forces beneath the Pacific Ring of Fire could conspire to reshape coastlines and redraw the map of East Asia in a single cataclysmic event. Though all of her previous dreams have come to pass with unsettling accuracy, this final prophecy remains suspended in the realm of possibility, its approaching date a stark reminder of both the fragility of human life and the enduring power of visions that transcend time. Beneath the poetic imagery of two dragons twisting beneath the waves lies a very real geological truth. Japan, along with much of the Pacific Rim, sits squarely atop the volatile Ring of Fire, a horseshoe-shaped zone defined by the relentless churning of Earth's tectonic plates. In this region, the imposing Pacific Plate grinds inexorably northwest against the Philippine Sea Plate, forcing one slab to buckle and dive beneath the other in a process known as subduction. The immense pressures and molten rock generated by that collision fuel a string of underwater volcanoes, many of which lie dormant for centuries, until, like hidden pressure valves, they suddenly disgorge ash, lava, and heated gases. History offers concrete proof that such eruptions can and do birth entirely new land masses almost overnight. In late 2013, for instance, an inconspicuous vent just 500 meters off the coast of Nishinoshima Island in the northern Pacific erupted so vigorously that molten material piled high above the ocean surface, forming a fresh islet that rapidly grew and eventually fused with the existing shoreline. Less than a decade later, in 2021, a similar underwater outburst occurred in the disputed Kuril Islands between Japan and Russia, catching meteorologists by surprise. When researchers arrived by helicopter days later, they found a brand new island rising from the surf. These real-world examples demonstrate how, under precise conditions of magma pressure and seafloor topography, newly formed volcanic material can pierce the sea surface and accumulate into solid ground. In Tatsuki's vision, the two dragons represent exactly this tectonic interplay, the Pacific and Philippine sea plates waking from their geological slumber. Their mocked-up dance mirrors the bulging of magma chambers and the rupturing of the seafloor that can propel oceanic crust upward by hundreds of meters. Should such an eruption occur at the plate junction south of Japan, with the right combination of subterranean pressure, seismic triggers and volcanic vent alignment, it could feasibly thrust enough material skyward to not only generate a catastrophic tsunami, but also deposit a ribbon of new land connecting Japan to Taiwan, Hong Kong, and the Philippines. While the probability of such a grand-scale event remains low, the underlying science affirms that the mechanisms are neither fanciful nor impossible. They are the same powerful forces that have shaped Earth's surface for eons, and that will continue to reshape coastlines whenever the restless plates beneath the ocean find their moment to roar. Tatsuki's overarching purpose in sharing her visions has never been to sow fear or perpetuate superstition, but rather to offer a vital window of opportunity. If even a small number of people heed her warnings and take practical steps to prepare, whether by reinforcing coastal infrastructure, developing early warning systems, or simply cultivating community evacuation plans, then the catastrophic human toll she foresees might be substantially reduced. Her narrative thus becomes a meditation on our collective capacity to listen to messages that originate outside the realm of empirical proof, challenging the modern instinct to dismiss anomalous experiences as mere coincidence or fantasy. By chronicling her dreams with painstaking detail, dates, emotional undercurrents, environmental textures, Tatsuki not only underscores the gravity of her revelations, but also places the burden of belief squarely on the individual. Will we choose to regard these warnings as portentous guides rather than irrational curiosities? In doing so, her story provokes a deeper philosophical inquiry into the very nature of fate and free will, asking whether the future is a fixed tapestry woven beyond human influence or a malleable unfolding that can be shaped by collective intention and action. Through this lens, dreams, or any form of premonitory sign, become more than the private reveries of a solitary mind. They emerge as potential triggers for societal change, sparking conversations about resilience, moral responsibility, and the ethical imperative to act when confronted with knowledge of possible disaster. At its core, the tale of the future I saw invites us to reflect on how we respond when reality collides with the inexplicable. Whether we retreat into skepticism, shrugging off such messages as fanciful, or whether we embrace a posture of humble vigilance, recognizing that even the most improbable warnings may carry within them the seeds of survival. In this way, Tatsuki's work transcends the simple recounting of fulfilled prophecies. It becomes a testament to the power of belief to alter outcomes, and a poignant reminder that the boundary between dream and destiny may, in fact, be far more porous than we dare to imagine.